We'll sing a Ganesha bhajan Tuesday. Gajanana, 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 Om Gajanana.
Gajanana, Gajanana,
Recording in progress.
Gajanana, 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 Om Gajanana.
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 हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
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 लंबोदर हेरंब तुम्हारे नाम 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 है।
गजानना, 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 ओम गजानना।
गजानना, 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 ओम गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, मूषिकवाहन गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, मूषिकवाहन गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, मोदकहस्ता गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, मोदकहस्ता गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, चामरकर्णा गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, चामरकर्णा गजानना।
हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
तुम हो गणपति विद्यादायक।
तुम हो
गणपति विद्यादायक। तुम हो गजपति विघ्न विनाशक। तुम हो गजपति विघ्न विनाशक। तुम हो अधिपति बुद्धि प्रदायक। तुम हो अधिपति बुद्धि प्रदायक। तुम हो गुणपति मोक्ष प्रदायक। तुम हो गुणपति मोक्ष प्रदायक। गजानना, गजानना, गौरी तनया गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, गौरी तनया गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, शंकर पुत्र गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, शंकर पुत्र गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, षण्मुख सोदर गजानना।
गजानना, गजानना, षण्मुख सोदर गजानना।
हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
एक दंत तुम हो कहलाते। एक दंत तुम हो कहलाते। भक्त जनों के मन को भाते, भक्त जनों के मन को भाते, दीन जो तुम्हारे शरण में आते, दीन जो तुम्हारे शरण में आते, रिद्धि सिद्धि वो तुमसे पाते, रिद्धि सिद्धि वो तुमसे पाते। गजानना गजानना अभय प्रदाता गजानना,
गजानना
गजानना अभय प्रदाता गजानना, गजानना गजानना सिद्धि विधाता गजानना,
गजानना गजानना
सिद्धि विधाता गजानना, गजानना गजानना वर प्रदाता गजानना,
गजानना गजानना
वर प्रदाता गजानना। हे गजवदना तुमको प्रणाम है,
हे जगवदना तुमको प्रणाम है।
लंबोदर हेरंब तुम्हारे नाम है, लंबोदर हेरंब तुम्हारे नाम है। गजानना 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 ओम गजानना, गजानना 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 ओम गजानना, गजानना ओम गजानना, गजानना ओम गजानना, गजानना ओम गजानना, गजानना ओम गजानना। बोले गणेश भगवान की जय। श्री राम जय जय राम ओम, श्री राम जय जय राम ओम, श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
श्री राम जय जय राम ओम,
जय जय राम ओम,
जय जय राम ओम,
जय जय राम ओम।
जय जय राम ओम।
सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम् रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. We'll chant the first two verses together. यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदैति दैवम्
यज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदैति देवं
तदु सुप्तस्य तथैवैति
तदु सुप्तस्य तथैवेति
दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकम्
दूरङ्गमं ज्योतिषां ज्योतिरेकं
तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु
तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु
येन कर्माण्यपसो मनीषिणो
येन कर्माण्यपसो मनीषिणो
यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विधतेषु धीराः
यज्ञे कृण्वन्ति विदतेषु धीराः
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानाम्
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानाम्
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानाम्
यदपूर्वं यक्षमन्तः प्रजानां
तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु.
तन्मे मनः शिवसङ्कल्पमस्तु.
Good. So in the first verse, we had seen that this mind goes away from the waker during the waking state. But what is so great about it? We said we should ask this question, where does this mind go? You know, sometimes we hear one of the main sadhana for the mind is observe the mind. But I will like to put one more point in front of that. You all think about it and let me know whether you agree or not. Merely observing the mind does not purify the mind. Merely observing the mind does not purify the mind. We have to observe, question, and correct. Just like the boy who went to several places, you say, I just observed him going to whichever places, but we did not have a discussion, we did not have any conversation. Just by observing, nothing happens. Observation is needed. On top of that, we need to ask these questions. So the first question we asked was, where does this mind go? Where does this mind go? Making sure that it goes to auspicious places. This is where we said, whatever vasanas we have, the only way for us to know them is through our thoughts. And if we are able to correct it at thought level, we are saved from many problems. We don't get karma phala or thoughts. Only when the thought becomes an action, then we get result of that action. So that is why in Kali Yuga it is said, even at thought level, if we make good sankalpa, we get the good result of it. But the other, not so good sankalpas, if we are able, unless it becomes an action, it doesn't give karma phalas. So what is the main thing here? It is not to endorse that it's okay to have any kind of thoughts. What it says is, in Kali Yuga, our sadhanas become very difficult. In Satya Yuga, people had so much of purity of mind and other things. Kali Yuga, it is little mellower. The expectations are also little mellower. Our abilities are reduced. In Satya Yuga it is said the main sadhana was Nididhyasanam, tapasya. Then came which yuga? Treta Yuga. After Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, when Bhagwan Rama's avatar happened, main sadhana was rituals, yajna, all those things. Then came Dwapar Yuga. In Dwapar Yuga, it became more of living a moral life. Main sadhana was more extrovert sadhanas, more action oriented sadhana. And in Kali Yuga, what is the main sadhana? It's a devotion. Nama Japa of Bhagwan, it has so much of power to purify this mind and make sure that it becomes auspicious. Okay, so first question we had asked was, where is this mind going? Second was, with what intention it is going? With what intention it is going? That is why we said, intention should be noble, intention should be pure. Intention should also be very clear. Why am I doing this? Right? Clarity in that will make sure that our goal is more focused. We will not seek erroneous results. We will seek the main result. In sadhana part, whatever we get outside is the byproduct. Whenever we do any karma, what results happen outside at a material level, that is a byproduct. What is the main result? So main result is purity of mind. Chitta Shuddhi means I should feel after doing this, I have become more accepting. I have become more light-hearted. I have become more patient in and through all these things. So that is the main result. One of the best analogy I have found for this is making a garland. But you are making a garland with fragrant flowers. So what happens in and through that? You get a garland outside, but your hands remain fragrant even after making it. So Karma Yoga or having this right intention is like that. We are doing the work, but this sadhaka keeps asking, what has been the quality of mind after doing the work? It doesn't only ask what I did to the work, so what has the work done to me? That is the beauty of this knowledge. Then we said, what is the main sadhana? How to make sure that mind goes to auspicious places, mind doesn't get stuck in erroneous things, and also it has the right intention. So main sadhana was reducing our strong preferences. Strong likes and dislikes. All of us will have preferences. Nobody can say, I like all kinds of food. I like all kinds of people. I like all kinds of music. Preferences will be there. But it should not become so overpowering that it makes me become partial. That it makes me lose my hold on dharma. That much if you are able to do it, preferences will not bother us. It should be a manageable, realistic goal. Whatever we said, we cannot say, I will become with no preferences from today. Whatever you give me, I will eat. Whatever, that is a Siddha Mahatma. But if we say, what is the in-between step? The in-between step is, Raga Dvesha should not govern my life. That is the main sadhana. And then we saw a little bit about Sushupti Avastha. Why that Avastha is discussed? To tell us that essential nature of this mind is pure consciousness. If you are seeing the pot, we are seeing clay only. There is no independent thing called as that pot. If there was pot independent, then you would say, give me the pot, you keep the clay. If there was wave independent of water, if I go and bring the wave with me, I will keep the water there. No, because there is no separate thing called as a wave. Water alone is appearing as the wave. Clay alone is appearing as the pot. Consciousness alone is appearing as the mind. This is Vedanta Chintanam. If we get it, we get it. Now, because it is nothing but, because there is no real entity called as wave, that doesn't mean it will not give experiences. You stand in the ocean, that wave can come and throw us out. You say, who threw me out, water or wave? Water in the form of a wave. The main point is, even though there is no wave there, it can give a lot of experiences. So even though we say there is no mind, there is only consciousness, we know how much this mind, it gives so much trouble sometimes. So many experiences this mind gives. But knowledge is to beautify this mind and then come to understand that this mind is nothing but consciousness. Moksha, when we say, it is not a state which has some conditions applied to it. If I say I want moksha, but I am liberated only when my mind is calm. So what kind of moksha is that? Moksha limited by time, moksha limited by space. Space means what? Only when I go to some place, there my mind becomes calm and then I am liberated. Okay, so that is why our teachers say, be very careful, don't set the wrong metrics. Jnanam is true, very clear knowledge. Moksha is clear knowledge. Liberation means clear knowledge. Don't set any other erroneous metrics. Of course, if mind has been purified, this knowledge expresses in the mind. That also is there. When Mahatma Ji would say, Bhagwan Krishna is born in Mathura, he should come to Gokul. Gokul means what? Go means sense organs. Bhagwan is first born in the mind, buddhi. Why? Because buddhi is bound. So he is born in a jail. In Mathura, he is born in a jail, but he is born in such a way that he opens all the doors one by one. And then where does he go? He goes to Gokul. So he would say, this knowledge which is born in the mind should trickle down, should percolate to our sense organs. Through the mind only, it has to percolate and make our transaction sweeter. Okay. So all these points we had seen regarding Sushupti also. And then we said Jyotisham Jyoti, we saw the relation between sense organs and the mind. The difference between them. Sense organs can see only one thing, mind can grasp all things. Sense organs don't know what they are taking inside. But mind is the one which colors it. So it should put auspicious colors. You remember the example of a Buddhist monk? Gatostamarkaha. Sun has gone, sun has set. 4 people understood in different ways. So our mind should put the right colors. That is the main takeaway. Now second mantra is Yena karmani apaso manishana yajne krunvanti vidateshu dhiraha. When the sadhaka is praying, Bhagwan, great people, great Mahatmas, it is said, they have a very unique mind. May my mind become like them. Now he is not asking one quality. He says, may my mind just become like their mind. What is their mind like? He says their mind has these qualities. It is manishanaha. They are able to be very, very decisive. They evaluate things. They are very enthusiastic about things. They plan, also visionaries. But finally, they have some concrete decision that they take and they stand by it. Sometimes we feel we get lost only in evaluating our options. In particular, when children go to university, we say, what are you studying? What major are you wanting to do? I'm thinking right now. When you enter, it is okay. But after 1 year, after 2 years, if you are still thinking, so then it is said there are some perspectives which spirituality can offer by which we can become more decisive. Decisive meaning having taken a decision, making sure that we stand by it. No going back. Deham va patayami, karyam va sadayami. This is a statement Lord Buddha made when he was going away from his house. He said, either I will accomplish my goal or I will drop my physical body. With that conviction, if somebody is able to go, he said they will achieve their goal. They are these Manishana. Now, next word is Yajne Krunvanti. Yajne means, one literal meaning is the Homa. In that Homa Kunda, there is an offering which is done. And in olden days, Yajna was organized not by one person. Any Yajna for that matter cannot be organized by one person. We have to gather resources. Whoever had whatever resources, they said we will contribute that from our side. Now in that yajna, if somebody, let us say, had a grocery store, they would say, ghee for this yajna you don't have to buy, I will supply. If somebody was a craftsman, handicraft, they will say the mandapam for this yajna I will sponsor. Like this, everybody came together, they collectively worked for a common goal. In those days, yajnas were done for several reasons. If you want rain, they would do yajna. Overall prosperity of the village, well-being, health-wise, everything their only go-to was yajna. Because they had that shraddha. That is the traditional meaning of it. In Bhagavad Gita it is said, yajna, if it is done with faith, has the power to bring rain. Yajnat bhavati parjanya. And we should not doubt it. Huh? Sometimes we feel, how can yajna done in one place bring rain? And children will ask this question. Huh? Yajna is only done in India, mostly. And that to very few places where it is done in the right way. How does yajna done somewhere bring rain in some other country? But we say, who has drawn these boundaries of countries? We human beings only have made that this land belongs to a country, another land belongs to another country. Even if you take 5 elements, Panchamahabhuta, from which all our bodies are made, there is no difference between the Panchamahabhuta of any country's citizen. So we should not doubt those things. Traditional meaning is that. But some Mahatma like Puja Gurudev, they have given the applied meaning of it, of yajna. So Gurudev's, I'm verbatim quoting it, he says, whenever a group of people gather together by syncing their individual preferences and work for a common good, he says that is called as yajna. Group of people getting together, syncing their individual preferences and working for a common goal, that is called yajna. Now that common goal could be in family, it could be at work, or it could be even at nation level. Any freedom struggle that our leaders did, same definition will apply there. Group of people got together, they sank their individual differences. Without that, nothing can be accomplished, and worked for a common goal. So that is this yajna. Now what is the swaha happening here? In that yajna you have swaha happening, right? What is the swaha? Swaha is of our preferences. Even if I want something to be done in some way, but if in the common good, I have to step back. This person says, I'm ready. Swaha is that. Swaha of our own individual strong preferences, that is being done. And Gurudev would say that yajna has the power to bring rain. What was the rain? He would use a very poetic word, productive potential. Whichever group we are part of, group of people, they have a lot of power. It doesn't matter how many people are there, even few people, if they are together and they are tuned, that group has a lot of power. It can bring the productive potential out from everybody. As long as this atmosphere of yajna is created. In our own experience, we feel if you have visited somebody's house, if you have gone to some program, and you see everybody working seamlessly, not that they don't have differences, they have differences, but if you go to that place, you see, in spite of differences, they're working together. You feel so much joy just going to that place, just looking at them work in that way. Even in families, you see that. Joint families, everybody staying together. 4 people together is so difficult. Imagine 4 families together, how it is. But in spite of that, they're making it work. Right? So that is this Yajna Bhava. Now these points are not in the book. So I will tell you when to refer to the book, because book commentary is already there. We will just follow that, but few points are from other places. So if you are searching where it is here, you will not find it. You know, there is one beautiful concept regarding this Yajna Bhava. I think it is important to discuss. All of you are sincere sadhakas, studying several texts. Some insight might open up something new. Okay. This concept is called as Samashti and Vyashti. Okay, this topic is called as, if you want an English word, totality and individuality. Totality means Samashti, individual means Vyashti. In our transactional world, the main law is that individual can never be separate from the total. The moment an individual thinks, I will live separate from the total, that is when that individual becomes very, very stressed. On the other hand, if that individual tunes with the total, the strength of that totality comes to that person. Simple thing, just in family you see, 4 people are living, right? Everybody says, I will cook my own food. You know, I will have my own routine. I will have my own corner in the fridge. Right? This is my corner, this is your corner. You see, it is not a family. It is 4 individuals living under one roof. But on the other hand, if everybody says, I might have my preferences, but I am ready to dissolve it for the common good. Where will we go for vacation? I might have a very strong preference. This is where I want to go. But if others have a different opinion, making sure that we all go together. In taking care of others, we end up taking very good care of ourselves. This self-care topic in the Western society, sometimes it is put in a different perspective. Self-care means, oh, while I'm interacting with others, I go through a lot of stress. So I have to separate myself in a corner and then take care of myself. I end up talking to many students, many youngsters, and this is how the perspective sometimes comes. Vedanta says the way to take care of this mind is by taking care of others. How is that? See, what are the things we are seeking for ourselves? We are seeking love, we are seeking trust, we are seeking acceptance. And in these things, Bhagavan says, all of them are karma phalas. Karma phalas, you know what it means, right? The result of action. And what does Bhagavan say in Gita? In karma phala, we have no adhikara. In karma phala, we have no adhikara, means we cannot demand these things. We cannot demand love, we cannot demand acceptance, we cannot demand trust. Then what do we have? What is the best option? Or what is the only option? Bhagavan says only option is giving it. In giving these things, we have full freedom. In giving love, we have freedom. In accepting, we have freedom. In trusting, we have freedom. And Bhagavan says whatever we give, that only is going to come back as karma phala. Strange arrangement. Huh? If we appreciate this, we will get a new insight to life. Because these are the things we are seeking. When we say, I want a good mind, means that mind which is getting love, that mind which is getting acceptance, trust. But these things Bhagavan says we cannot demand it. In karma phala, we have no adhikara. Recently, in the last 2 summers, we had this summer camp, Bal Vihar summer camp. One was on Mahabharata, another was on Ramayana, 2-month long camp. And I was facilitating one of the grades. One, Bhiksha family, when they came, they asked, Somji, you have done it for 1 year, now you are doing the 2nd year. What is it that you are looking forward to in this camp? What is it that you are looking forward to? This was just in the beginning of the 2nd camp. I said, I want the children to enjoy this camp. I want the children to enjoy this camp. That is what I am looking forward to. And I said that, and I came back to my room and I was thinking, this particular desire of mine, is it karma or is it karma phala? Students who are coming to this camp should enjoy this camp. Is it karma or is it karma phala? Is it a result or is it an action that I can do right now? It is a result. And in the result, I have no control. So how much of uncertainty comes if we have erroneous convictions? So what is there in my hand? I can focus on the content. I can prepare well. I can make sure that this content is relevant to them. Don't judge them in any way. Because they're coming at 8 o'clock in the morning, dressed in Indian clothes, ready to listen to Ramayana. These are 10th graders. 2 months they came. Appreciate that point. Whatever they have to say, make them make sure you give an open space, welcoming space to them. That is in my hand. But whether they will enjoy or not is not in my hand. This karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Although we chant it so many times, to get the meaning of it takes a long time. Because you make a list. Huh? What are the things which are bothering me right now? And you see whether it falls under karma category or karma phala category. Okay, 2 columns you make. Majority of them will fall under karma phala category, in which we have no control. There we are insisting on something. To receive love, in that we have no control. But in giving it, we have all freedom. Bhagwan Rama was loved so much by Ayodhya Vasis. So much so that when Dasharath Maharaj announced that Bhagwan Rama is going to be Yuvaraja, everybody started clapping. Dasharath Maharaj felt a little, sad from within. He said, have I not done a good job? That all of you are so happy that I announced Bhagwan Rama is going to become the Yuvaraja. All of them say, Bhagwan, it is not about you. It is about Rama. The way he has treated us, that is what makes us love him so much. It is said when Bhagwan would pass through Ayodhya, he would stop and ask each and every person how they are doing. All Kevat, Nishad Raj, all of them, so much of love Bhagwan received from them. but it was all the result of his interaction with them. Even understanding for that matter. We say, you don't understand me, right? So in Vedanta we say, rather than having others understand us, we should try to understand others. In Ramayana again, Sita ji, Bhagwan lives for 14 years with Sita ji. And Bhagwan understands her emotions. Somebody who has to live alone for 14 years, he knows what she would be going through. And time and again, Bhagwan makes sure that she feels valued. You must have heard the name Shrungara Rama. One of the name of Bhagwan is Shrungara Rama. Means he would make garlands for Sita ji and then offer it to her. Otherwise, if you just by herself, what would be her mind like? That is why 14 years, no complaints about anything. But now you see how this came back. In that Kevat Prasanga, when Bhagwan has spoken to Kevat and they have gone across the river, Bhagwan feels, I have to give this Kevat something. He has done so much and he is such a great devotee, I have to give him something. But he doesn't have anything with him. So there Sita ji just looks at Bhagwan Rama and understands what is in his mind. Even before Bhagwan said something, she takes out her ring and gives it to Bhagwan. She says, you can give this. Now you see, understanding is something which we cannot demand. Bhagwan understood Sita ji. Sita ji understood Bhagwan. And it is not, the result is not right away. We should not say, from today I have started understanding you. So from tomorrow I should see the result back. Because past balance is also there. But in that Bhagwan gives us assurance, I will take care of this result. It will not elude us for too long. That is his promise. Okay. So this is the Samashti and Vyashti part. That individual can never be independent of total. More we tune with totality, happier our life is going to be. What does tuning with totality mean? Accepting Bhagwan's will. Sometimes we have some idea, we have some plan, and no matter how hard we try, we feel our hands are tied. But we should remember, if our plan is not working, then his plan is working. Because something is happening, right? It is not that world has stopped. Something is happening, and if my plan is not working, his plan is working. Now this topic is from Vedanta Sara. Samashti Vyashti topic is discussed. Example is given of a drop and a lake. There is one drop in that lake which suddenly starts feeding, I am different from that lake. And it says, I will be by myself. It doesn't take much time for that drop to evaporate. But if it can be one with the lake, the depth of that lake comes to the drop. Lot of gems which are there in the lake comes to that drop. So this mind is our individual drop. And the lake is Bhagwan's mind. More we tune with it, the strength of that comes to this individual. Okay. Yajne krunvanti vidateshu dhiraha. Vidateshu means they are able to mobilize resources. For yajna it is not sufficient only to plan. You have to mobilize these resources and then do every action devoted to Bhagavan. Okay. With a group of people wherever we are. You know, this management, it's a great topic where all these things are reflected. Of course, we don't have to go to only corporate management. In our family also we have to manage. I was listening to an interview by J.R.D. Tata ji. And there he speaks about consensus based leadership. He says if you want to bring any sustained change, you cannot be authoritative, because if you do that, you have lost the heart of the employee. But he is very careful in his words. He says unless it is an ethical issue, unless it is something ethical, there you have to be very firm, take a firm stand. But otherwise, it is all about taking people together. In that, whatever we have to do, that will become our sadhana. We don't have to separately say in this particular scenario what I should do, in that particular scenario what I should do. So whatever needs to be done to keep things together, do that. And in and through, making sure that our altar is Bhagwan only, whether somebody else sees it or not. Sometimes that thought also comes, I am doing everything, but not even a word of appreciation, from the people around. I read another incident. This was in Rome. They have these cathedrals, huge cathedrals are there. Cathedral, right? That is how it is pronounced.
Yes,
Cathedral. So they have these carvings, very intricate carvings, very detailed carvings on the dome, on the inside. And it's so difficult to go there and do it, because they have to do it with their head up like that. So one artisan, he was doing that very fine carving. One person who was visiting that place, he asked, who will even go and see that? First of all, it is so up in the air. Who is going to even go and see your carving in that cathedral? He said, my Bhagwan is up there. For them, God is in heaven. Right? So my Bhagwan is up there. One who has to actually see it, he has seen it. Whether others see it or not, it doesn't matter. Whenever we do any action, whenever we do any karma, we get two results. Okay? One result is the immediate result which comes from the world. Another result comes in due course of time. Let us say there is one person, one boy is there who helped some other senior. Let us say they were sitting there wanting to go from one place to another. Now this boy helped that person go from that place to the another place. Somebody is watching, they might say, such a nice child. They might compliment the child. So you will feel good about it. That is one result we get, which is immediate. Second is that good karma has gotten him punya. That is an impression on the Lord's mind. And how that result will come, only Bhagwan will decide. And the first result, sometimes it will come, sometimes it will not come. Means praise from other people. It might be there, it might not be there. But second result is infallible. Second result of punya, it is infallible, it never goes unaccounted. On that strength, this sadhaka is able to live a very cheerful life. Because Karma Yoga is not easy. Karma Yoga is not easy. It demands this kind of bhava without seeking any kind of recognition. And for ordinary sadhaka, recognition is the motivation. That is why we have star performer of the week. Every other month you have a incentive. And which is okay, we should not look down or anything. But the main point is, if we say we are karma yogis, the main demand there is karma yogi does not seek any kind of recognition. On what strength? On the strength that my Bhagwan already knows what I am doing. I don't have to announce it to anybody else. Minus Bhagwan, it is very difficult to even become karma yogi. See, karma yogi is not the one who is very busy. In Vedanta, there is a difference between karmi and karma yogi. Okay, karmi is the one who is very busy. who is very dynamic, and it is much better than tamasic person. Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, if anyway you are working, anyway you are so dynamic, why not keep the good side of that dynamism and get something more? Get something more meaning get inner unfoldment. That is part of Karma Yoga. Okay. Yadapurvam yakshamantah prajanam. Yadapurvam means this mind is like Bhagavan's mind. Apurvam means there is no second example to it. Unique. There is no other. There was nothing before. There is no other thing which is going to come. What mind can that be? Say Bhagavan's mind. So that is this mind, samashti mind, free from all raga dveshas, free from all likes and dislikes. May our mind become like Bhagavan's mind. Tanme manaha Shiva sankalpamastu. All words we saw. One word we left. Dhiraha. Dhiraha means those who don't leave things halfway. Dhira means what? Guruji said there are three types of people. One who don't start anything out of the fear of failing at it. And they would say, Gurudev, Guruji, they would say, Guruji, you see that company which is so famous? The founder of that company is my friend. I only advised him how to start. I only inspired him. You see how famous he is today? Gurudev would ask, why didn't you start one? And that I cannot do. Don't ask me to start. I can give advice. But inside there is fear of not succeeding. That is first step. Second is, they are called as Aramba Shura. Very enthusiastic for starting, but within 2 days they will drop it. Moment some obstacle comes, they will drop it. Every other year, new job. Every 5 years, new career. Why? Because the moment something did not work out, moment result was not coming, or somebody they couldn't get along with, they'll say, I will change. Third is this category, Dhiraha. Dhira means again and again different obstacles come. In spite of that, they will not drop the goal. In spite of circumstances being around them which are very challenging, they will not drop their goal. They are this Dhira. Bhagavan, may our mind become like them. That is the prayer. The third verse is also a very beautiful one. Let us chant. Yat prajnanamut cheto dhrutischa. Yat prajnanamut cheto dhrutischa. Yajyotirantaramrutam prajasu. Yajyotirantaramrutam prajasu. Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. Tanme manah Shiva sankalpamastu. Yat prajnanamut cheto dhrutischa. Yajyotirantaramrutam prajasu. Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. Tanme manah Shiva sankalpamastu. Now another quality of the mind is pointed out. Three things. Yat prajnanam uta cheto dhrutischa. Means may this mind have prajna. Prajna means assimilated knowledge. Prajna means that. Assimilated knowledge, digested knowledge. May this mind have that. Cheto dhrutischa, they will go together. It is said in our life there are two modes. One mode is creative mode. Creative mode means whatever challenges keep coming, we have to constantly find creative solutions for that. So one who is very, very alert, one who is able to do that, that person is Chetaha. Another mode is patience mode. After doing that solution, we have to give time for that solution to show its result. That is called as Dhruti. Chetaha means creative, very, very dexterous. But other side is patience, Dhrutischa. Yet Jyotihi Antar Amrutam Prajasu. That light which is the innermost and which is Amrutam. First part is only literal meaning. Amrutam means it is immortal. Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. That mind without which we cannot do any karma. May that mind of mine have Shiva Sankalpa. May that mind of mine have auspicious Sankalpa. So now what is this digested knowledge? Prajnanam, let us come to that word. What is digested knowledge? Whatever is my conviction, I am able to live up to it. First part is to have the right conviction. So first part of that is to have the right knowledge, and second part is to digest it well. Sometimes we see so many people give so many opinions about social media, different opinions about healthy eating. But we see sometimes we ourselves do that and we are unable to follow it. And it is said anything which is undigested becomes a burden. Undigested food becomes a burden for the body. Undigested knowledge becomes a burden for the sadhaka. Because in mind or intellect there is one conviction, but in his own daily life there is another thing which is happening. He is unable to live up to his own convictions. So one who is able to do that, we say that is prajna. And what will this assimilated knowledge do, digested knowledge do? It will make our life sweeter. Right? Vedanta, once we have studied it, the result of this Vedanta is it should make our life sweeter. What we saw this morning, it should make us a sadhu. Being able to take different experiences but giving back sweet things. It keeps going now. That's okay. It has done a good job so far. So that is this assimilated knowledge, digested knowledge. And also on the other hand, it should be the right knowledge. See, Ravana also had digested knowledge, but it was the erroneous knowledge. He had a lot of conviction in whatever he did, but what was his conviction? Whatever you want, just go and get it. Don't worry about the means. If he wants Pushpaka Vimana, he went and stole it from Kubera. And if I am cutting corners anywhere and nobody has seen it, that means I will not get results of that action. That was Ravana's conviction. And very strong conviction. So over here it is said, not only it is important to have digested knowledge, but this knowledge should be the right knowledge. Now what is the right knowledge that we are seeking? One is this Vyashti and Samashti part, what we just saw, that I am not different from the Lord. I cannot live independent of the world around me. In these things, if we have erroneous conviction and strong conviction, that is not what it is said over here. What is moksha? Different people might have different opinions, but this sadhaka goes to Shastra and he tries to understand what is the definition of bondage first. What is the definition of bondage in Vedanta? Avichara kruto bandha. Lack of inquiry about our own true nature. That is bondage. Means ignorance is bondage. See, in general, we might have our own opinions. My neighbor is bothering me, that is bondage. My boss is giving a hard time at work, you see, that is bondage. They are all relative bondages. Very small bondage, it will be there today, tomorrow it will not be there. Main bondage is, I have misunderstood myself as this finite being. That infinite Brahma, thinking itself to be, in Hindi it is said, 3.5 haath ka sharir. This 6 foot tall body, it has tried to fit inside it. And Gurudev would say, if your shoe is half number small, what is your actual size, and it is half number small, how uncomfortable it is. You walk in a funny way, with that smaller size shoe. You would say, imagine infinite Brahma trying to fit in this small body. About all these things, getting clear knowledge. One of the main obstacles on the spiritual path is duragraha. Duragraha means what? Whatever my previous convictions were, I am not ready to let go of them. Even though I am convinced to what Vedanta is saying is true, but still insistence is there on my previous ways of thinking. What is the means to liberation now? If ignorance is bondage, what will be the means? Knowledge. How will knowledge come? Through Shravanam. By reflecting on this, through that I'll get clarity and I will meditate upon it, whatever I have gotten clarity about. So this one who has, that is called as prajna. One is, he is making sure that it is right knowledge and is digesting that right knowledge. Both are important. Erroneous knowledge gets digested, that is not what we want. Right knowledge is there, undigested. That knowledge will become a burden. We ourselves will feel that we are saying all these things, but we ourselves are not benefiting from it. One Mahatma Ji would say it is like gargling water. It will keep us busy but not quench our thirst. This knowledge also is like that. It has to be very well digested. Now, if you want to understand how to digest this knowledge, how to protect this knowledge, we should study Sthita Prajna Lakshana in Bhagavad Gita. What is the main refrain that keeps coming? Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. This person's knowledge is stable, very well established. What does that person do? Bhagavan gives several verses. How many verses are there in Sthita Prajna Lakshana? 18 verses. 18 verses. 11 out of 18 verses are on sense control. Imagine, for Sthita Prajna Lakshana, such an important topic, 11 out of 18 verses Bhagavan says is on alert transactions. The sense control doesn't mean yesterday I ate one laddu, or yesterday I ate two laddus, today I ate only one. Why? Because I have controlled my senses. In general, I used to drink tea thrice, now I drink only once. So Bhagavad Gita is a much more deeper text than that. It is not only talking about laddus and teas. That is true. When Bhagavan says sense control, what he means is alertness in all transactions. Indriya Sanyama you can replace by Vyavahara Sanyama. Through senses, whatever we are inputting, there Bhagavan says if one is alert, then this mind, whatever knowledge is there, it will be protected. Otherwise, it is like the wind, he says. It will come and take this boat away. That boat on which we had to sit and cross this ocean of samsara, that boat has been taken away by the wind and it is capsized in between. Okay, so that is the sadhana for it. Okay. Okay. Yat prajnanam uta cheto dhrutischa. Now what is cheta? We said ability to seek creative solutions. Because our life is such, every day is a new challenge. Every day something or the other comes our way, making sure that we face it head on. Otherwise, sometimes we feel by ignoring the problem, it will somehow or the other go away. It does not. Right? At the same time, making sure that we find creative solutions for them. Now, this could be in any place. Right? Sometimes it is in work. Some new project comes which we have no background about. Now, one is to either start blaming or feel very agitated about it. Or another way is to creatively seek some solution. What can I do in this given scenario? This is what I have. I can seek help from others. I can get a group together and accomplish that work, whatever that creative solution is. Sometimes there is different types of fears that we have. Right? Different fears. So it is said, writing down our fears and facing it is the best way to overcome it. Mentally go through it, mentally think through it, you feel you are getting stronger about that fear. One of the fears people have is of public speaking. So tell me whatever you want me to do, but don't ask me to speak in front of people. And there are so many fears, right? You might go blank. You might not know what to say. You might lose the audience. Now, what is the best way to face that fear? Do it, or do it in a safe environment first. Have a safe audience who will say no matter what. Study group, it is a good place. And do it in front of a safe audience, but also observe how good speakers are speaking. See, creativity is needed. We cannot just keep doing what we are doing and expect somehow or the other we will change. We have to become perennial learners. Always something new to learn from people and also from things around. Right? So that is this second one. And public speaking is, some kind of a fear. I remember in my 7th grade, I had participated in one elocution competition. And they had selected me from the school to go and speak in front of an audience. And I had memorized, 5-minute speech it was. From the beginning to the end I memorized. But what happens with that is, if you miss one point in between, you lose the whole thing. So after around half a minute or so, forgot. I stood there for almost 3 to 4 minutes. So you have to stand there. You cannot go in between. Trying to remember what was that. And finally that organizer, he came. He said, "You tried very hard. I am sure you will do good next time." I still remember his words because you feel that, you feel judged also. But he was so nice. He said, "You tried very hard." So best way to face those fears is find some solution. Don't expect that just by sitting over that problem, it's somehow or the other it is going to go away. At work, so many things we come across. Some projects, they go over budget. Right? They say, whoever is the manager, they will be called and asked. Right? There is something that they do called as blameless postmortem. Blameless postmortem, where everybody gets together and they try to analyze what went wrong without bringing individuals in between, not pointing out that because of this person it went wrong. Then you cannot analyze anymore. Right? So these are all part of seeking creative solutions, and this is a great joy, right? Because problem we have to solve, but if we can make it a joy to solve that problem, it is a great benefit for this sadhaka. Now, what is the other part? Dhruti. Dhruti means fortitude. Dhruti means patience. Now, because we have tried something, doesn't mean the result will come right away. Right? So making sure that we have that patience to wait and go through that result. Wait for the right time to see that result. That is the second part of it, which is called as Dhruti. Bhagwan sometimes his answer is yes. Okay. Whenever we ask something, he says yes. Sometimes he says no. And sometimes he says wait. Okay. Yes, no, and wait. All three are valid answers. The Dhruti part, it will make sure that we are not seeking quick results. Sometimes, we start learning a new language, Sanskritam for that matter. We start it and we expect within, a month or so we want to become Sanskrit Panditas. I will learn all these things. And then we feel I'm not seeing any result. I'm doing all this thing, not seeing any result. He said, wait. Give yourself time. That is what is going to bring these results. And you see this, in great musicians. There was one musician, his name is Ali Akbar Khan. You must have heard his name. He is a sarod player. He has a school in Northern California also. And he has very beautiful quotes. In one quote I had read, he said, if you practice for 10 years, you might please yourself. If you practice for 10 years, you might feel that you are getting a hang of this instrument. If you practice for 20 years, you might become a performer and please the audience. If you practice for 20 years, you might become a performer and please the audience. If you practice for 30 years, you might even please God. But he said, you have to practice for several years. 30 years was, you might even please your guru, but you have to practice for several more years to become a true performer and please God. 10 years yourself, 20 years audience, 30 years guru, and several more years to please God. Means imagine how much of patience they have and how they are looking at their subject. Even for Vedanta, when you started studying Vedanta, you have studied for so many years, nothing is happening. There it is said, have a lot of patience. And we should never feel that we have mastered any topic. Okay. There was another singer, his name is Venkatesh Kumar. He's from Dharwad in Karnataka. Very beautiful singing, Hindustani classical. He was giving a performance where he said, he is Padma Bhushan, awarded the Padma Bhushan award and everything. He said, I'm 60 right now, and only after 60 I realized how to sing Sa. Shadaj kaise lagana hai, I felt I've understood after 60 years. That is that humility. The one who has accomplished so much, he feels, but after this time only I'm getting hang of that subject. So that is this Dhruti, along with creative solutions, making sure that we give ourselves times. Don't become impatient about seeing the result and go slow. Patience. You notice everything in this creation, whichever is creative, it is very slow. Seed, if it is germinate into a plant, you cannot hasten it. Right? Milk turning into yogurt, you cannot hasten it. It has to take its own time. What can be done? Give the right environment. I heard they do it in one pot. So many things they have tried to get the right temperature so that it is consistent and it is very nicely done. So our journey also is like that. Whatever comes quickly goes quickly. Right? Any change which we say yesterday I was this, today I am this, tomorrow will be something else. So best is a slow unfoldment. Yat prajnanam uta cheto dhrutischa Yet Jyotihi antar amrutam prajasu. Jyotihi means it is effulgent and it is innermost. What is innermost? Mind is innermost and it is amrutam. Why would you call the mind amrutam? Amrutam is Chaitanya. Why is mind called as amrutam? One is Chaitanya is the substratum of this mind, but another is, you should go to Amruta Bindu Upanishad for this, where it is said, mind which is beautiful is almost liberated. Muktam nirvishayam smrutam. Mind which is nirvishaya, which doesn't have too much of attachments. Mind which is free, that mind is almost liberated. It's only a matter of time, knowledge will come and it will work there. So that's why mind is called as Amrutam. May our mind become like that. Yat jyoti antar amrutam prajasu yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. Now you have understood what is the flow of Shiva Sankalpa Suktam, right? 3 quarters talking about what is the nature of mind. Last quarter is the prayer that may this mind of mine become auspicious. May this mind of mine have auspicious thoughts. So what is this? Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. That this mind is that without which no action can be performed. In every action, this mind is involved. Then what is the sadhana over here? That pay attention to this mind and take care of this mind. Sometimes the most important tool gets the least taken care of. Mind is the most important tool, but attention is either on this body or on this intellect. In terms of body, gym is there, physical fitness we take care of, and it is important. In terms of intellect, we have so many other educational things we do. University education, keeping this mind sharp. People solve so many puzzles and do so many things for that. Keeping this mind or intellect, sharpening it, decision making and everything. But what gets left behind is emotions. And that is a part of this mind. I was thinking, in our own life, what is that one instrument without which we cannot live? In every action, in every place that we go, we have to carry it along with us. Mind, Shiva Sankalpa Suktam said. But in terms of gadgets, what is that thing? Phone. Yasman narute kinchana karma kriyate. For our life, it is a phone. How much care we take, right? We make sure that it is charged. We make sure that it is upgraded. Every other time, new model comes. So we said we should pay attention to this mind also. What exercise does to physical body, satsang and sadhana does to mind. Just like we have healthy body through exercise, we have a healthy mind through satsang, healthy mind through sadhana. So we have to charge ourselves time and again, go to some retreats, come to study groups. Once a week, whatever we do as that sadhana, it is our charging. And upgrading is, time and again we should challenge our understanding. If we have started from Tattva Bodha, we have to move further in terms of text and our understanding also. Otherwise, 25 years we studied Vedanta. We say I started with Tattva Bodha, Bhaja Govindam, and the same text I am studying after 25 years. It is good if we can go deeper, but also it is going subtler in our understanding. That way we don't feel we are getting stuck anywhere. New ideas will come, new perspectives will come. Tanme manaha Shiva Sankalpam astu. May that mind of mine have Shiva Sankalpa. Okay. Now Puja Guruji has translated the Bhavartha of this in Hindi. If you come to the last page, just flip your book to the last page. There is a Hindi version of this. So I will sing, all of you can repeat after me. Very simple meaning. दूर जाता जागृत में, दूर जाता जागृत में, लौट आता निद्रा में, लौट आता निद्रा में, इंद्रियों की ज्योति जो, इंद्रियों की ज्योति जो, मेरा वह मन शिवमय हो, शिवमय हो। धीर मनीषी कर्म करे, धीर मनीषी कर्म करे, जिस मन से वह यज्ञ बने, जिस मन से वह यज्ञ बने। अपूर्व जो है पूज्यतम, अपूर्व जो है पूज्यतम, मेरा वह मन शिवमय हो, मेरा वह मन शिवमय हो। प्रज्ञा मेधा क्षमा धृति, प्रज्ञा मेधा क्षमा धृति, अंतर मन में सदा बसे, अंतर मन में सदा बसे। जिसके बिना कोई कर्म न हो, जिसके बिना कोई कर्म न हो, मेरा वह मन शिवमय 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 हो। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।